Hey, what's up, everyone? Shining Otaku here. Let's just go straight into this. We are sitting here with Simeck. I said Smeck. I have a bad habit of saying that. Simeck Entertainment to talk about their audio drama that they're working on with Eerie Descent Acorn Productions, if I'm not mistaken. They're basically working on doing a audio drama, and they do a lot of the art for it. So today we were going to talk a little bit about that because we don't really talk about audio dramas too much on this channel, but I'm sure some of you guys out there want to know about the creative process of doing that. And today we have some experts here. So I want to go ahead without further ado and start off by introducing the two founders of Simeck Entertainment, Randy and Carl, and then we'll go and talk to Michael and Blue as well. So Randy, Carl, I don't know who wants to go first, but do you guys mind introducing yourselves a little bit and maybe just talking a little bit about how you guys got into doing Simeck, like how you guys founded it, and then talk a little bit about what the creative process looks for you in doing this current project of the Bells in Lilac audio drama that's coming out.
Yeah, certainly. Randy, did you want to go first?
Yep, sure. So we were founded in 2014 when I was originally part of a different studio that kind of went belly up. So afterwards, I decided, hey, you know what? I'm gonna try again. I'm not gonna let failure kick me in the butt. So I called up Carl one day. And I said, hey, you want to start a studio? And he said yes. And within, God, was it like, 6 months later? You were out here. Yeah, you were out here in Arizona. And we were collaborating, putting together a studio. And just kind of over the next 10 years and about 3 false starts later, here we are. And we're finally gaining momentum. And it's wonderful.
Yeah, you literally called me on my lunch break. I was like, hey, you want to start up a company? I'm like, sure.
While you guys are doing that, what I'm going to do, just so people can, if they're not familiar with you, put a name to the face, I'm going to share my screen so they can see some of that. You guys can just keep going.
Fair enough. Yeah, so I moved to Arizona in, I think it was early 2015 for our first attempt to get the company going, or somewhere in that timeline. Then when we actually were trying to sell a cartoon, that was our first attempt, which we did get a yes, but unfortunately they pulled out like 2 weeks before production was going to start, so we ended up having to withdraw. And the second attempt unfortunately got squashed by the pandemic.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, we launched in February of 2020 on that project. Whoops.
The first time well, actually,
the pandemic, I feel like really did crush a lot of creative stuff. Sorry, continue.
Oh no, you're good. No, we are absolutely victims of that. But coming back to the first time, we were actually in talks with Mattel for one of our projects.
Oh wow.
Yeah, so we got a lot of experience sort of pitching ideas to people in the industry that were able to make decisions, and it was really good for making contacts. The second go around was a little bit more, I want to say, homegrown. It was when we started trying to do the Monster Mall comic, and then that was when the pandemic hit. And Carl can talk more about those efforts because that was Monster Mall, baby.
What I'm curious about for you guys, not to cut you off, I do want to know, like, so during the pandemic, you say you talked to Mattel. Was there, like, at that point, what were the obstacles that you had to face in terms of how did you even get the connection to do that? Because obviously, I'm sure people probably want to know, like, well, how do I even get a meeting with Mattel if I'm trying to?
Well, so there are conferences. Let's say multiple levels of conferences. So most of the conventions, that most of us think of are things like Comic-Cons and Fan Expo and like C2E2 in Chicago. But there's also there's like another class of conventions and conferences that involve like movie studio executives and game studio like executives from like highly successful studios. That's where we were able to meet some executives from companies like Fuji TV, Mattel once again. Carl met someone from Marvel Media. That's a whole different story.
We're not telling that on live stream.
I wasn't going to go any further. But the two conferences that we visited were Banff Media Festival in Banff, Canada. And then we went to the Kids Screen Summit, which was at the time in Miami. I think it moved to like New York or something, but they're out there.
Yeah, so they are not cheap to get into. At the time, it was like $1,500 a ticket just to get in the door, which was not fun. But it did get us the connections like Mattel, like Randy was talking about. And that was kind of our way to practice and get the connections we needed to get started. And we did get a yes on a cartoon pitch from Mattel. It was, I believe it was your protagonist concept, right, Randy?
It was. It's sort of, the protagonist was sort of a metafiction concept about a protagonist who decided that I don't want to do it. But the plot still comes. So it's just this conflict between the main character, Andrea, and just the events of the world just kind of pushing against each other, where everybody and everyone wants to get her involved and she just wants to live her own life.
So in Simeck, what is everyone's role? Like, is everyone an artist?
The vast majority of us, yes. Wow. Randy and I actually met in college. We both got animation degrees from SCAD, Savannah College of Art and Design.
Oh, yes.
Which, for those of you who want to become animators, and this is actually something we can talk about more in detail later, I actually don't think that art school is a good investment at this point in time. It does get you some good connections, but it was not worth the cost, because the 99% of what I know is in a YouTube tutorial somewhere now.
Oh, wow.
So, yeah.
Can I actually add to that really quick as somebody else who also went to art school?
Of course.
Sure. Okay. So I would say that the money makes it not worth it. I will be paying for that for the rest of my life. I will say that the thing that you don't expect to get out of art school is somebody forcing you to do consistent creative work while comparing yourself to people who are in the same age bracket as you, which rapidly develops your skills. So if you can find yourself, if you're looking to get better without going to school for it, finding a community where people are making things together and you're constantly challenging yourself to try new things and learn new techniques will be equally as beneficial as long as you put in the emotional investment.
Well said.
Interesting. No, I you know what's funny? So like I hear like mixed things, but it actually does sound like, I mean, you have a lot of people in today's time who don't have maybe the degree, but maybe they learned a lot of it homegrown. Like even like within our own group, we have a few people who've gotten the art degree, and then we have a few people, like one of our guys in our group is probably, not to shame anybody in our group, everybody's talented, but like amazingly talented, but he was like already a prodigy before he even went to school, like he probably was better than a lot of his teachers. And it was like, man, like, I mean, it's good for you to go maybe to get it, but like, do you really, even need it? And I think art is one of those things to where you can it's almost like you can visually see someone's resume once it's, based on what their body of work looks like. You don't have to guesstimate on what they're able to do. I mean, I know you have obviously things like AI that exist in today's time frame, which I'm sure we can get into that a little bit later, on your guys' opinions on that. But
there is only one opinion. We hate it.
I can relate to you on that a little bit. I don't hate it, but
we recently had in studio discussion about AI, and the end result was that we're not going to do it.
Yeah, I do want to preface that what is viewed as AI is not actually AI in terms of like it being actually intelligent. It's just like a self-correcting thing. God, I wish I could have gotten my sister on here. My sister actually works with AI for part of her job, so she could give you a much better insight for how that works. But because like what is considered AI and what is not, obviously computer-generated images that way are banned within our group. We don't allow that. But just what consists of it now, especially because they have all these AI tools inserted and everything. Like you try to do a search on anything, and there's AI tools behind it now, which
so
is
do you think
frustrating.
with what you guys do you think that to some capacity, I'm not saying fully because I'm not like a AI'd out guy or whatever, right? But I'm curious about this. Like, do you think that there is a use that AI can serve if it was used more like a tool and not the main thing in animation?
Can I fill this one?
Go for it.
Okay.
That is a question with an extraordinarily nuanced answer. So an AI model is basically just like a series of weights, and it uses those weights to kind of predict whatever comes next. And in order to get those weight values, you have to feed it tons of data. We are at the point where the data that goes into AI models cannot be verified, whether it's for an open source LLM that is used as a coding agent, whether it's for Google Gemini or ChatGPT, whatever, whether it's for stable diffusion models, whether it's for anything. You cannot verify where those data sets come from. So the more important concern and the more important question, I think, is not so much one of utility and how we're using it, but just the ethics behind using it altogether. Because no matter what LLM you're using these days, there's some stolen data.
Oh,
and
yeah,
I
you
think
can't even copy the AI.
Yeah. Like no matter what, you're gonna find something that was copied from AI. And future models are going to be subject to a phenomenon called enshittification, which is basically I don't know if you've ever seen like a cartoon where you have clones made from clones, made from clones, made from clones, made from clones. It's that sort of idea, except it's real life. AI models will be fed data that has been generated by AI models. It's already happening, and they will become progressively worse.
Oh yeah, I could see that for sure. You know, I mean, honestly, like I was just talking with one of my studio mates yesterday. We were working on a project, and when you look at AI art, it doesn't matter how, like, I guess you could say perfect it looks in theory, right? You can always tell because it's almost like it doesn't have a soul. Like, you know, there's like it's soul. I don't care how detailed it looks. It's like, man, something's off. Like it just feels weird.
It's really good at looking like it has a soul. So good at looking. But at the end of the day, all a large language model is a prediction engine. That's all it is.
And you can't predict good art.
It can do a decent job of trying to figure out what comes next. That's all it is.
So, I have a strong personal feeling towards AI because I have the heart of an environmentalist, and I took a study in environmental science in college, and I just really hate what the data centers are doing to the environment, and I feel really sympathetic with everybody who's super susceptible to things like AI psychosis, who think that ChatGPT are going to solve all their life problems, and then they end up in the worst position they've ever been in, and their family's trying to convince them to come home. Really feel bad for those people. That's not part of the generative and the artistic conversation, but it is part of the overall conversation. And I just wanted to mention that as well.
Oh, that's a good point. I literally just heard a news story about how I think a guy literally thought he was like smarter than everybody or something because it convinced him of that or so. It was something crazy like that, you know, where he had some kind of rude awakening, I guess, because of that. But yeah, I mean, it's getting a little dangerous when it comes to stuff like that. But like, just kind of bringing everything full circle back to the Kickstarter. So tell us a little bit more about this project that you guys got involved in. Why is this something that people out there should care about? And what is the big, not to say you're trying to sell to us, but what's the big enticing point if I'm someone who's into audio dramas, or even if I'm not?
So again, we didn't write this, so I'm going to do the best that I can on behalf of Iridescent Acorn. Unfortunately, I know this is a last minute thing, so didn't have enough time to get them on. But this was written by Will. I forgot what his last name was. I apologize, Will, if you see this. But basically, he wanted to have a high fantasy adventure with an extremely well-built world. Like, he's discussed that he really likes it when a fantasy novel, and by extension an audio drama, really goes all in on creating a living, breathing world. So if you like that kind of like Tolkien-esque world building, you're going to love this. It was William Neal.
I just posted the guy's name in the chat. It's Willem Neal.
Willem Neal. Yes, apologies. So he is
cool.
He's the author of this story. In terms of the ethics, since we were just talking about AI, no AI was used in the creation of the art of this from our side. And all of the voices are real people. There's no AI development in this at all, as far as I know. And it also represents the start of something really awesome, which is our partnership. We're moving forward, which I'm very excited about.
Interesting. Okay. A lot of the art, I'm liking what I'm seeing, I'm kind of showing some of this on the screen so everybody can kind of see.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Wait, so is Blue, are you the one who drew this?
Half of them, yeah. Half of them were drawn by my co-artist, Will, who did an amazing job.
Oh, yeah, Will. I mean, these look familiar. Yeah, I was looking at mm-hmm. Yeah, I like Will, So, Will, if you're watching this, shout outs to you.
He's an amazing artist. And a great guy, honestly. And Mo. Yeah. We love them both very much.
All right.
We really do.
Now, obviously, we know this is the first project that you guys partnered on. Tell us a little bit about, like, I'm going to say, like, what the how long does it take to develop a project like this? And what was the most exciting part for you guys in doing this?
In terms of their development time, I can't comment on that, unfortunately. I don't know how much time was spent on this. I would say at least a couple months for writing, but I don't know for sure. We worked with them for about 2.5 months to develop all the art. The image in the trailer is not ours. So that was someone else they had hired out on their own end before we had met. But the character designs and everything, I want to say probably like 2.5 to 3 months for the basic designs and everything. And then obviously a few months more than that for like to really get the passion of the story going.
Okay. Nice. All right. And then you guys have another project. Let me see if we can show that one on the screen that is not out yet. But obviously, let me see if we can, because it doesn't look like that's showing. Let me fix this, because I definitely want to show. Bear with us just for a second, folks, so while we get this other screen going. Here we go. All right. So we have another project that's not up yet, but you do have that's going to be on Kickstarter for Spike Castle. Can you tell us about this? Now, this is something that you guys are driving forward, if I'm not mistaken, correct?
Yep, this is 100% us. Mike, you want to take this one?
Sure. Yeah, Spike Castle. This is something I developed. I'm actually like one of the few non-artists in Simeck. I'm a musician, I'm a composer, but I also am a game designer now. And I made Spike Castle. This is a competitive adventure for 3 to 5 people. And it's kind of all about destroying friendships. If you wanted to turn a friend into an enemy, this is the funnest way to do it. So basically the idea is you're going through a castle, you're defeating ghosts, and you're getting money for those ghosts, and you're trying to get the most money. But there's an additional complication in the sense that there is two currencies. There is gold, which you're using to try to win, and then there's spite. And spite is not used to win. Instead, it's actually used to ruin everybody else's day and make everybody miserable, because that's what spite does. So this game's all about kind of like the misery of everybody and everything. It's actually a really fun time. We've already demoed it at several conventions and had just amazing reception.
So the idea of the concept of using spite as like kind of like the core point, did you come up with that point, or who thought of that?
Yeah, I did come up with that. That was nice. a concept. So the game is kind of very loosely based on this other extremely niche game called Dokapon Kingdom, which was for the Wii. And that game is kind of like Mario Party meets Monopoly, and this game also has that same kind of structure where it's kind of like Mario Party Monopoly. It's kind of the friendship ruining aspect. Like, remember how much that ruined your friendship? That's what this game does, except even more so. And it does it in like a super fun, engaging way. So like, so
everybody's gonna be angry after they're done playing, though, because like
that's kind of the spirit of things. But like in actuality, it's a good time. It's fun to sort of fake be mad at each other with your friends. So
one of the play testers, I went to Magfest, was it? I think it was called. Yeah, and I was helping Mike play test the game over there, and I came back from a break and I was like, "How's everyone doing?" And this one woman looked up at me deadpan and just went, "You're ruining my marriage."
It was good. They had a fun time. They enjoyed it. But yeah,
what I'm curious about is when you're developing like games like this, because I know, just to kind of relate this a little bit with probably some of our viewers probably are into. A lot of our viewers are probably either comic creators or people who are interested in wanting to do something like that. Obviously, this is different, but in comics, people kind of have like maybe things that they're inspired by, or, would you say that was there any inspiration from Monopoly, or was there any inspiration from any other type of board game when you're mentioning that, or did you have pretty much no inspiration from that and it was pretty much like, hey, I just thought of the best idea ever? Like, how did that go?
Yeah, I mean, it really was from Dokapon Kingdom. So Dokapon Kingdom, it's a game for the Wii. It's kind of like Mario Party. It's also very RPG-esque. And if you've ever played it, and people who have played it, they'll know what I'm talking about. This game's like insane. It's very like Japanese and bright and happy. Everything's like a joyful kind of thing. And then when you actually play it, you'll realize that this is like literally the most cutthroat game you've ever played in your life. It doesn't match at all. It's like very strange. So a lot of the general concepts comes from that. And Spike Castle is kind of just trying to condense it down into like a really fun board game experience. Dokapon Kingdom takes like 100 hours to play. Spike Castle takes like an hour and a half. It's great. It's a much more manageable kind of thing. And it's also just simplified, and the whole spite concept that's like loosely based on Dokapon Kingdom. That's an original idea that I came up with.
Nice. Okay. Did it take you a long time to actually like craft it all out with the rules and everything like that? Like, was this something that took months to do, or like, what does it look like when you're because I've never tried to make like any kind of like game before in this sense. So like, what does that process look like? How do you even get started?
Well, first I was just trying to think of like how many things I wanted to cut out. How much did I want to simplify down? I tried to like simplify down as much as I could in every possible way and just try to get to the essence of what I was going for. And that's when I came up with what I'm really going for is spite. That was the essence of the core of what I was like trying to get at. And then I got some poster board. I got a bunch of playing cards. I wrote on the playing cards. I wrote on the poster board, made a little board. And then I sort of took a really rough prototype to my friends, and they kindly play tested it with me, and it was very rough. It wasn't anything like the game is now. It was in a terrible state, but they did a great job, like helping me out, trying to figure out what works, what doesn't, how the best to move forward. So it took a while. I mean, I think I started playtesting it in, say, December of 2024. So about a year and a half from now, I'd say. And
nice.
then I brought it to Simeck probably around March and April, and then we started production on that. And I was still refining it while we were doing it, but like a lot of the core essence had already been fleshed out by March and April. So it took a good amount, but it was relative. I mean, compared to a lot of things, that's a short turnaround. So I don't know. It's kind of.
So have you ever had to, like, from doing the play testing, did you have to change anything major between, from what the earlier beta versions were, or was it just pretty seamless?
I mean, I changed a lot of things. Yeah, there's a lot of things that ended up changing. Just everything from the way you move on the board to the way sort of like what happens when you die, like, if you get defeated or something. All these things like just are very different. I mean, one of the things in the game is you can randomly hit special characters who will do. Special characters are kind of like, it's a very low probability that it's going to happen, but it's very high impact when it does happen. So they do very dramatically large things. And those underwent a lot of changes to make sure that they were fun, they were engaging, and they did kind of what I was going for. So those changed a lot. Like a lot of things ended up just really shifting around.
Nice. Okay.
Yeah, for any viewers who are interested in getting into game design and that kind of stuff, I cannot emphasize this enough. It is not a sprint. It is a marathon. Okay? So it's very easy to get burnt out. So you just got to make sure that you pace yourself. And then Randy and I actually use a process to basically single out what is most needed in a given project. And it doesn't matter if it's a game or an animation or whatever. We have the core needs, the nice to haves, and what's the outermost layer again, Randy? The something like
nice to haves. I think that's it.
Okay, well, I thought there were 3 layers, but apparently I'm wrong. My own process. Oops.
The core needs are basically sorry, you go ahead.
No, that's all right. So the core elements of it. So with Spike Castle as an example, it's a game where you sabotage your friends with ghosts in a funny way, right? That's the core of the game. Oversimplification, but that's the core of it. In terms of nice to haves, there are a lot of elements that would be fun in the game, but it's not necessary to the core of whatever it is. So one of the key things you need to do with your own game or comic or whatever, it's like, okay, what is the actual core of my project here? What is the goal of it? Is there a specific game style that I'm going with? Is there a message I want to have in here? And I like to call it using the theme to guide you. So the theme of Spy Castle would be friendship ruining sabotage. So that's a good way to utilize that, but still keep it playable.
Okay.
I would also say from the creation aspect of having the idea and bringing it forward to work with a group of people, if that's something that anybody is looking towards doing, is bringing more people in on something that you're passionate about, it plays into pay attention to the core vibe of the thing that you're working on, because you have to hold on loosely, because bringing other people in are going to give you an immense amount of perspective that you didn't know that you were lacking, regardless of how much you think that you already know. And it makes everything better when you work with more people, so it is worth it to get the uncomfortable feedback and to make the uncomfortable changes and to do things that you might not want to do, because eventually if you can get everything to work and get everybody to work together, you will make something really cool.
And just to piggyback on that, Blue and Sabrina, they did all the art for Spy Castle. They came up with a lot of the ideas. I brought the sort of game development to them, but like a lot of the artistic ideas and everything that's going on, like that's actually mostly them. Like they came up with tons of ideas that I only like lightly nudged them in that general direction, and they gave me something, and I was like, "That's awesome. That's way better than what I was saying." Like that happened a lot, and the product is just like way better than anything I could have imagined, and it's because of the talent at Simeck. Blue and Sabrina are very talented.
Sounds like you guys all let each other breathe, basically.
Yeah, we're a very collaborative studio. Twice a week we have meetings where people can bring their own personal art and get critique on it, as well as our discussions on all of our business stuff, which we address first, and then we talk about everything that everybody's bringing to the table, and it's an open, free for all conversation every time, and it's very nice.
It's very it's respectful, it's honest, and it's blunt and constructive. And we all, anytime we start up a meeting, there is an understanding, at least I think, that we go into the meeting with the understanding that everybody has the best interests of each other and the projects in mind.
It's really easy for artists to, in my experience, to be competitive in a destructive way, but it's also much more comfortable to be competitive in a healthy way. I want you to get better because I want to be better than you. I want you to get better because I need to keep challenging myself. I want your stuff to look good because it's next to mine and we work together. You can be competitive in nice ways.
I absolutely love that, because one of the questions that we've asked a lot of guests in the past, I haven't asked this yet to you guys, is I usually ask, like, who do you have any rivals, right? Try to make it a little anime fun, right? Like, hey, do you have a rival? But I've had a variation of different questions. I've had some people like, no, I never, which is fine. If that's how they feel, I'm not going to push anyone. My job is not to push anyone any type of direction. But I do like hearing when you're talking about positive, like kind of rivalry or competition, because I do think that, positive competition where you're reinforcing each other to get better is what creates better artists. What makes it to where, your work doesn't look soulless and look like AI, right? Because you guys are looking at each other and, you're improving and stepping on top of each other. So I just wanted to say that, I love your
Thank you.
response.
I can bring an example to the conversation as well. When we were developing the characters for Bells and Lilac, Will and I were bouncing sketches off each other back and forth. We'd send in private message, and he'd give me feedback, and I would send something over, and he'd be like, "Oh, I didn't know we were doing that much detail. Okay, I guess I'll have to keep up with you." And then he sends me over the most complicated armor I've ever drawn, and I'm like, "Oh, okay, I didn't know we were doing that much fabric. Now I got to keep up with you." And it was just back and forth competition of just ramping up the art style until it was where we think is a very comfortable level of detailed and expressive.
I'd say it's an organic kind of positivity.
Yes,
exactly.
I love hearing that. Oh, go ahead. I'm sorry.
I was going to say, I know we've been talking about this for a while, but the main way that Randy and I manage the studio is what I like to call sandbox management. Doesn't work with every single field, but basically it's like, okay, guys, here's the boundaries of the sandbox, aka this is the goal, this is the timeline, this is what we're working with, these are the art references. Like, I'll give everyone like a quick list, and it's like, okay, here's the borders of your sandbox. Go nuts in the sand and have some fun, build a sand castle, whatever you think will work. And the stuff that these guys can come up with is so freaking cool. And I'll be frank, it's better than anything I've ever come up with or even me and Randy put it in our heads together. Like that collaborative element there with the guide just makes really amazing stuff. And I love it.
God, yeah. Like our best people do things that I can't. Like, Sometimes you just have to hand over the reins and trust.
Yeah.
And the people that we work with are so incredible that we've come to not only rely on them, but count on how amazing that they are in their follow through and in their skills.
Nice.
Indeed.
We have a comment here, just a quick comment from Ray Hamaforest. Hey, peace and blessings to y'all. Hey, what's going on, Ray Hamaforest? Thanks for commenting. Hope you're having a good day as well. Now, just back to everything we were talking about. So, you guys do a lot of things because you guys also, even though, we talked about this a little bit beforehand, before we started, you guys have been a little bit more focused on doing games lately. You guys have done comics in the past as well. Like, can you talk, even just briefly about that?
Sure. So the Monster Ball comic was actually my, my baby, so to speak. And it was actually something that I pitched when we were trying to sell the cartoons. Monster Ball actually was originally a cartoon pitch. And
it was one of our earliest projects too.
Yeah, I think it was number 2, if I remember correctly.
3, I think.
Well, one of them. Anyways, yeah, it was one of the first ones. And I had to work about 15 years of retail. So if anyone knows retail work, you understand how hellish it can be. So what we ended up doing was we took that, like that spite and like vitriol there. Yep, and they're some of the main characters. And I just turned it into a webcomic, which I wrote, and then we had some other people who were drawing it at the time. He's no longer with Simeck, no bad blood or anything like that. He, like I said, that we launched like right before the pandemic hit, and we couldn't afford to keep it going, so that's why it's on hiatus at the moment. And so basically, the project we're working on was basically just the availability of the people we have, and also opportunities in with what's going on. Like, the 2 games we're working on right now, we have the Spike Castle, which was Mike's idea, and then we have Randy's game, which we can get to in once he's ready to talk about it. Basically comes from like the passion, availability, and also just like market opportunities. And one of the things that I do want to bring up to newer artists who are looking to get into art as a professional thing, one of the biggest mistakes that a lot of people make is they have a passion for something and they put all their eggs in one basket on that one project without like figuring out what the market is at the moment. Because this actually happened to me with Monster Mall. When I was pitching it, everyone compared it to Monster High, which, sorry, I hate that show so much. But the shows are nothing alike, though. Like, Monster Ball is actually much more akin to 16 for those of you who are...
So they were going based off of just like the title, pretty much. Like,
correct.
Oh, I hear monster something.
Exactly. And now Disney has that like monster daycare or whatever it is now. Hey, but everyone's just like babies with fangs or something like that. It's weird. But point is, like, I was extremely passionate about that. It's well developed. The characters are fun. But the timing for launching it was wrong. Right. So you have to incorporate, you have to figure that out. It's like, okay, are there any other projects similar to mine that are out right now? Which ones are popular? Because you also want to shoot your shot in a spot where it's going to land. Right. Especially if you want to do this profession. Now, if it's a hobby, go for it. Have fun. So
here's a question for you, because this is a big question that we ask a lot of people. When you mention, being, professional versus a hobby, I want to know from each of you guys, how do you define that?
If you make your living doing it, I think is a big one.
Okay.
So I don't really see much of a difference between a profession and a hobby, because at the end of the day, it's all part of the sum of what you put into the world. But I mean, if we're splitting hairs, I guess you could say if you make any kind of money on it, because that's the tax definition.
When I sold my first drawing when I was very little, my dad looked at me and he went, "Look, now you're a professional." And I think that counted.
So, okay. And what about you, Michael? What do you think?
Oh God. Yeah, if you can make money on it, that's probably where I would say that's an easy delineation, probably.
I don't think that making money on it inherently makes you better. I think that professional is just like a title that you get to add once money is involved. I think
Yeah.
that you can be a
Yeah.
hobbyist and better than most professionals ever could be.
Yeah,
At the end of the day, it's just a word.
True.
So I was gonna say I'm gonna intentionally stir the pot a little bit just because I'm considered to be an instigator by some of my friends. So
Okay.
Man after my own heart.
yeah. So like, okay, what if you're a hobbyist, or you consider yourself a hobbyist, but you make a lot of money off of selling your own art?
Then you're
Or,
delusional and
what
you're a
are you
professional.
then? Are you a hobbyist? You're a professional.
And you are wrong.
Then you're wrong.
Yeah. And you're wrong. Yeah. People are wrong. It's okay to be wrong.
It's okay. You're allowed to be wrong.
Okay, I know some people not in my group, but have kind of go with that. So that's why I'm like, like it's almost like kind of like, okay, if you're a hobbyist, if but you make a lot of money off of work, it's like, okay, if we're just simply going off of being a profession or making money is you being a professional, then anybody selling something, anytime you sell something, could be considered to be a professional. Or is it a certain percentage of income? Is it that, hey, I have to be able to pay a decent number of my bills?
I mean, I like to think of it the way that that tax code thinks of it. If you make $1, you're good.
I mean, a hobby is anything that you do outside of your main your main source of income that you do for passion. And if that becomes your main source of income, then congratulations, you're living the dream. But then you are a professional at that hobby. That is what that means.
Yeah, I mean, I guess like I'm a game developer. We sell one copy of Spike Castle. I'm a professional game developer.
Yeah.
Here's an industry question. So, do you think that the creative industry, there is a point in time where a lot of people have to come to that crossroads on whether or not they want to be a professional or a hobbyist, and what you guys do? So, giving an example of that, like clearly everything that you guys put into any of your projects, whether it be the comics or whether it be Spike Castle or anything like that, there's a lot of time that goes into that. But obviously, depending on if it's a hobby or if it's something you really have a vision for, there's going to be a lot of investment that has to go into that in terms of your time. And as they say, time is money. So how do you think that in order to do what you guys do, that you have to be a professional, or do you think that, someone can get away with doing this as a hobby?
Yeah, I actually have
so much to
something.
say about this when it's my turn.
Blue, do you want to go first?
No, feel free.
Okay. There was a moment in 2022, right after I started making video games. I started out by doing a course for Unity that I got off of Humble Bundle for like $10. And as I worked my way through those processes, as I worked my way through the courses, I wound up with a few games as like products. And there was a moment somewhere along the way, I can't tell you exactly when it happened, but I was sitting at the dinner table with my wife, and I just looked up at her and I'm like, "Hey, honey, I'm a game developer now." And she just looked at me and went, "I know." So you can do the thing without having the title. And then once you do the thing, congratulations, the title's yours. So at the end of the day, does the title really mean anything?
I guess that's the way to look at it. Does the title mean anything? All right, Blue, I know you wanted to say something, right?
Yeah, I just I might have an interesting perspective on this. I might not. I guess that's for anybody listening to decide. But I have intense privilege, like an intense amount of privilege around my career, and I also have never worked harder at anything ever in my entire life. When I was old enough to hold a crayon, like every prodigy says, my parents say the only thing I ever wanted to do was color or draw. I didn't hang out with people. I didn't talk to anyone. And if I had a friend over, I'd make them sit at my kitchen table with me and color. And then when they would get bored, I didn't understand why, because that's all I wanted to do. And then I only applied to one college. I applied to one art college in my area, the best art college in the area, and I was lucky enough to get in. And now I'm here after some life stuff happening, switching to a different college for a while, blah, 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 blah. I don't have an art degree, but I had the privilege of following uh, the path of art for as long as I wanted to because my parents were supportive of the career. I got into the college that I wanted to. My high school had a lot of art electives in it. I had a lot of steps that led me to where I was. And I'm very, very grateful for that. So I think that you can get here from other ways too. But I consider myself lucky above everything else.
Nice. I think that's really, you don't hear a lot of people out there. There are some, but like you don't hear a lot of people who talk about having a really supportive community around, art endeavors. There's always that whole idea people think of like the struggling artist or something like that. So I love hearing something like that when you talk about how, whether it be your courses or your community, basically everybody kind of rallying together and making sure that you had the skills you need to in order to succeed. I look at that as a blessing. So that's great.
Very much so. The struggle will find you in other ways when you are blessed in others, but it was nice to be able to have at least that on my side.
Nice. Does anyone else have anything to say about that?
I was also going to say that part of the reason why Simeck has managed to persist, and I'm not saying this like to beat our chest or anything like that, but the main reason why Simeck has persisted, especially through the multiple failures that we've had, is because we've always been community first. And I firmly believe that for any kind of skill set, you need to have a good community backing you up. And a lot of us have had that luckiness to be able to pursue that. I have a similar story to Blue where I had parents who, they didn't downplay like, oh, art degree, okay, whatever. But they were still supportive. They helped get me to school. They sent, and I did manage to get an animation degree. And then I graduated in 2011, which I don't know if any viewers here were trying to get their career started at that point in time. That was when there was a big animation crash, and I was not able to get a job. So I was extremely lucky. I was able to get an office gopher job, and I was able to pay off my student loans. So I'm one of the very, very few who was able to basically pay off my loans in the first 3 years after college. So that's another level of luck that I've had to be able to pursue and all that. And I'm under no disillusion that I have been lucky. So I'm trying to, I guess, in a way, pay it forward to make Simeck such a community-driven group, because these guys rock, and I want to do everything I can for them.
Nice. I love that. Okay, so kind of coming down to the end here, gotta ask you guys our traditional question, the question that we ask everybody on the show. And you guys can answer this individually, you can answer this as a group, it's up to you guys. But we're gonna go the Thanos route. What is your end game? What is the end game of Simeck, and what are your guys' end games individually? How do you see at the end of your career, creating, just period, whether it be doing games or whether it be doing comics? Because like I said, you guys do quite a bit. What is it that you picture for yourselves? This is what I want somebody to pull up when they're doing, a overview of your guys' careers. I want them to be able to look at this interview and be able to pull from here. So,
I guess I can go first. Main thing is I want to have Simeck be a successful studio that everyone can be like, yes, I loved working there. Which I know sounds kind of like a little bit of a cop-out, but honestly, I want to have a really amazing company culture. That's what I've always wanted. And I don't know, you just hear so many things of bigger companies, and it's like, there's a scandal there, and a week later there's another scandal. We want to make it a nice, I want to say safe place, because I know there's weird connotations, but I want it to be a place where people can be themselves and make cool shit. really. That's what I really like. And in terms of like what types of art, I like to continue development on our games. I think that'd be really fun. The vast majority of us are huge gamers. All of us here play D&D. We're giant dorks. So
Nice.
Yeah.
Okay. I can tell Randy's really thinking this hard.
Guys, the co-founders, you're supposed to go first. I have an answer, but I've been waiting out of politeness.
Do
Go
your
ahead.
answer, Blue. Do your answer.
go ahead.
Oh,
You're
man.
important. Do your answer.
Oh, I am so important. I get to go next. Thank you so much. I never want to stop finding new things to do. Whatever I've done before is great, and I will continue to love doing all types of art. My heart is in character design, and I'd love to design characters for things that I can't even anticipate right now. But I also have been brought onto projects recently that I never anticipated being a part of 2 years ago anyways. So I'm hoping that my future continues to surprise me and I can keep having my dream job for the rest of my life.
That hit. All
For
right.
me, sorry.
Oh no, go ahead.
For me, it's about learning new things. I'm always. Oh, sorry, that's my wife again. I'm always wanting to learn something new, try something different, and it's. First off, being a game developer has been a childhood dream of mine since I was about that big. Learning has also been incredibly important to my life as well. As a matter of fact, you're seeing me here. I'm an art teacher on top of being a game developer, and this is my classroom.
Wow.
Yeah, so learning and game development are huge parts of my life, and I hope to be able to do game development full time. But even if I do that, I always want to be finding new things to learn about in my projects. Like no matter where I'm at in my life.
Okay, Michael, not getting out of this. We gotta get your perspective on for your whole end game.
I want to make people laugh. I want to make people smile. I want to make people have a good time. That's kind of the motive here.
Dang, that's better than mine.
You know, even as a
So
musician.
why this? Why this? You know, why not being a comedian if you just want to make people laugh?
I mean, when I was a musician, I was a comedy musician. Like I did do that. So I'm not.
It's okay, fair enough.
This is just another avenue for me to get people smiling, get people laughing, get people having a good time. That's what I want to do. And if I can make more people do that, that sounds awesome. If I can get people getting together with their friends, making each other miserable and laughing about it later, that's the best thing ever. That's what I want to do. So
Okay. I really like what everyone has said, but the last thing I want to know from everybody is, and for our whole audience, what should we be? I mean, obviously, we already know what to look for, you guys, because of course, and I'm going to show it one more time on the screen just so everybody can see. We have the project coming out of Spike Castle, and I'm not sure when that's coming out. I don't know if you guys can tell us that yet or not, but I'm going to say sometime soon.
yeah, it's probably going to be like in a month or two. And you can sign up now so that when we launch, you'll see.
So I'm going to put a link up to that. Actually, let me see if I can put it in the comments now, and then I can, so you guys can support it. Let's see here if it'll go right now. So make sure you guys click on that. You should be able to hit notification, notify me when launch, so you guys can follow it. But aside from that, I do want to know, is there anything else that we should be following from you guys? Obviously, there's the project you guys were involved in along with the Eerie Descent Acorn production. So make sure you guys support that as well. I know there's a link to that down below in the description. Looks like that Kickstarter is pretty much hit its goal, but you guys should still support it and help with the stretch goals. I think it's worth supporting. But yeah, is there anything else?
Well, I mean, if you want, I can put our link tree up that has all of our socials on there. Give me a second.
Sure, go ahead. Whatever you guys would like. We want to be able to support you guys, and I think that all the stuff that these guys are creating, I think for any of you guys watching or who may watch the stream afterward, I think you guys should take the time to really be able to dive into what they have. When it comes into creating projects, it ain't an easy thing, and it's also really fun to do when you do it. And they put a lot of time and careful energy over this, so I definitely think you guys should dive into it and show not just with your mouth, but show with your money. Not to tell everybody what to buy, but just thinking it's good to be able to invest into something that people put a lot of careful energy into. Let's see here. Did you put the? Oh, here it is right here. I'm gonna go ahead and put this in the comments.
There is one thing I'd like to share from one of my projects.
Sure, go ahead.
Yeah. So, Fat Butter's Jetpack Ride. We haven't really talked about it a whole lot during this, but I did want to share one of our animations that could potentially play on the title screen when you get the game. And let me go ahead and share my screen here.
Oh, okay. Let me see. Will it let you? Oops. Try it one more time and see if it'll let you do it.
Let's see. Do you see it now?
I'm not seeing it for some reason, but
All
I
right.
can try to
There's
share
nope,
mine.
I got it. There's another way I can do this. Let me go ahead and switch over to window. Oops, wrong one. There it is.
Let me switch to you. One sec.
So this is, we call this one playing with toy. And I bring it up because toys is, well, it's one of Butter's favorite things.
Oh, nice. How long did that take to make that model?
So the model, it probably took about 10 hours to model and another 10 to 15 hours to rig. And then I can't tell you how long it took to do the animation because the animation was done by one of our other animators, Hannah Martin, who is one of the most amazing artists you could ever possibly hope to meet. Hannah's amazing. We love her.
Yeah, that's pretty true.
So
Article about one.
Someone has a dog.
That
Actually,
is Randy's dog.
Yep, Butters is my dog. He's a real living corgi who is right now waiting for me at home.
Oh, well, I'm sure he's going to be excited to see you. I'm like, I'm a dog owner as well. I got 3, and I'm actually shocked that they've been quiet this whole time. They never are, so, they didn't make
I get it. I get it. Butters is usually ruining our meetings, and so is Carl's cat, Ollie.
Yeah, I'm a cat dad. I got an orange kitty who loves to sing the song of his people.
Oh, I have to say, shout outs to your cat because we've heard him a little bit, but I loved hearing him. I was like, it made me think of like the what do you call that? The I can't think of the name of the cat, like the
Neon cat.
Yeah, yeah, made me think of that. I don't know. Like the whole time, I was like, oh man, that's pretty cool. But I love cats, so
He would be the neon cat if he could. I'll just put it that way.
Yeah. Okay, well, thank you guys. Thanks everybody for watching this. Real quick to anybody out there, like I said, make sure you guys support them. Check out that link tree that I put down below and follow them on all their socials. For anybody who's been wondering when the next Origami Super Punch is coming out for our stuff, you guys can look forward. It should be coming out in the next few months or so. So sometime this summer, be on the lookout for that. There's like a super amazing cover. I can't wait for you guys to see. We also have a few other projects, a few other comic projects come out as well. And we want to thank you guys for supporting us for that the Zelda Award for the extras and Seeds of Doubt. You know, we really appreciate it. You know, even though we didn't get it this time, it you know, still was appreciated for you guys putting in for the nomination and everything. So you know, thank you all out there for that. With that being said, make sure you subscribe, follow us going forward. Follow us on TikTok because we're on TikTok as well. And make sure you guys support these Kickstarters from Simeck Entertainment as well. With that being said, peace out, guys, and we will see you guys next stream. Thank you for joining us for this bonus episode.